the video. All right, today, as per the schedule, we're supposed to do passage 2 and passage 3. So let me look at one more time to be 100% sure. Yeah, it's plan of the course, and today lesson number 9. We need to do passage 2 and passage 3. All right. So yeah, we have passage 2, and then we have passage 3. I think today's passage is at slightly difficult than normal passages. So let's see how it goes. So early approach to organizational design, a review of classical and neoclassical theories of organizational structures. Already it's too much, I believe, right? Classical and neoclassical theories of organizational structures. Think of any organization. In any organization, there is hierarchy, right? So someone at the top, and then someone who, who is deputy, and etc. So we're going to look at organizations and the way they are structured. All right. So let's look at, I have this difficult type of question. So like choosing from a list, or some people call it multiple choice, whatever you name it. We have many of them, which makes the task really difficult, honestly. And then we have, usual matching features questions. So now that I know, again, as usual, what I did, I tried to connect the topic with what I already know. So let's read according to the writer, which two of the following characteristics of approach, right? Which two of the following the characteristics of classical approach to organized design? We need to find classical approach design. Then, according to the writer, which two of the following are criticisms of, all right? So I don't read the options because the questions tell us where the right location is. And according to which of the following are neoclassical approach to organizational design, and which of the following are criticisms? Quite easy. I mean, in terms of the questions, Max Weber, Douglas Marker, Chris Igris, and Rani Slickert. The classical approach relied upon managers having incorrect views about about workers. In the best organizational model, there is shared decision-making interaction, shared decision-making. In an efficient organization, workers develop expertise in particular areas. Expertise means knowledge. An organization must take into account emotional demands of people. And the classical approach allowed workers' skills to be assessed in a straightforward way. Straightforward means easy. As you can see in each question, I'm finding one word that I cannot potentially miss, right? So again, today's set is quite difficult, I believe. Let's see how it goes. Determining the best type of organizational structure for a particular situation has long been an important task for managers in all types of organizations. So identifying the most efficient or the most useful type of organizational structure has been important. All structures have advantages and disadvantages, and managers lose the challenge of developing the most appropriate design for changing circumstances. All right, we are not given anything. We are good to go. So, birinchi paragrafda bizga kontekst berdi. Davom etsak bo'ladi. Classical approach haqida esingizda bo'lsa, qayerda bergandi? Birinchi 14-15 savolda. Uni keyin kritisizm deb turib, 16-17 da bergandi. Demak, hamma narsa ketma-ket berilgan bizda. Faqat mana shu joyda o'qib tushunsak, 14-15 da topamiz. Early management writers attempted to approach organizational design using a set of principles that would make organizational structure. So there were a set of principles, qanaqadir prinsiplar bo'lgan. O'sha prinsiplar organizational structure to perform efficiently in most situations. Ko'p situatsiyada yaxshi perform qiladi agar shu prinsiplarga amal qilsa. Independent of external conditions and internal objectives. Farqi yo'q. External condition ham bundan holi o'laroq degani independent of, free from degani, independent of degani. Free from internal objective. The sociologist Max Weber and all of these people were major, Douglas Marker, Max Weber, all right, were major contributors to the so-called, kimdir yozdi guruhda? Mana yozdi guruhda. Birinchi dars tugasin, chiqing tashlayman. All right. We have Max Weber. So they believed that the most efficient organizations had legalized formal hierarchical structure called bureaucracy. Ular ishongan ekan, bureaucracy degan hierarchical structure bo'lish kerak. Hierarchy degani kimdir tepada, kimdir pastda, hierarchiya. Members of the organization were guided by a sense of duty to the organization. o'sha a'zolari organizatsiya bo'lgan mas'uliyati hissi bilan harakat qilgan. And by a set of rational rules and guidelines. According to Weber, such organizations were characterized by specialization of task, appointment by merit, and in impersonal climate. Bu Weberning fikriga ko'ra, bunaqa organizatsiyalar qanaqa characterize bo'lgan? Tasklar specialize qilingan va odamlar qanaqa tayinlangan? Aqliga qarab tayinlangan. Kim yaxshi bo'lsa, kim salohiyatlimi, nima kimnidir skilllar yaxshi bo'lsa, o'sha appoint qilingan. Merit degani yaxshi ana bilimga qarab, qobiliyatga qarab degan. In impersonal climate. Today the word bureaucracy sometimes has negative connotations. Bugungi dunyoga kelsak, hozirgi vaqtda bureaucracy so'zi negative connotation bilan negative ma'nolari bor. Early management writers, however, commended bureaucracy, maqtagan, as an organizational design for its rationality, rules, decision-making, clear chain of command, and promotion of people based on ability and experience. Bunaqa turdagi anaqada nima bo'lgan? Maqtagan sababi odamlar decision-making rationalityga asoslangan va hokazo. Rather than favoritism or whimga yoki kimnidir bitta odamni favor qilishga asoslanmagan. Weber also believed that clearly specified authority and responsibility made performance easier to evaluate. Mana bitta javob chiqdi, men ana buni ko'rdim. Hop, bittasi hozircha meni hayolimga keldi. Qaysi javob ko'rdingizlar sizlar Weber joydan? Ikkita Weber keldi, chunki bitta Weber, yana bitta Weber, keyin yana bitta Weber. 26-savoli. Skills degani bu yerda Weber also clearly specified responsibility made performance degan skillsga sinonim bo'ladi. Easier to evaluate esa assess straightforward ga sinonim bo'ladi. Shu uchun 26-savol javobi nima bo'ldi? 26 A. Xo'p, yana bitta savollarga ham qarab chiqaylikchi. The classical approach relied upon managers having incorrect views. Shunaqa gap aytdimi Weber? Xato fikrlarga ega bo'lishligi. Hope Kings, in the best organizational model, it's the shared decision making between arms that work. No. In an efficient organization, workers develop expertise in particular areas. Qaysidir sohalarda nima deydi? Specialization, expertisega ega bo'ladi. An organization might emotional demands of people. Emotional demandlarga qarash kerak. Hop, mana shu joyda Weber bo'lishi mumkin. Mana bu particular areasga efficient organization yes, 24 bo'lishi mumkin-da. Maybe. Qaytib kelamiz. Oxirida kechagidek balkim chiqib qolishi mumkin, to'g'rimi? Kechagidek chiqib qolsa, qaytib kelamiz. Xo'p, endi mana bu javoblarga qarasak, Hope organization design characteristics nima bo'lgan? Marked ranking order for employees, giving importance to everyone's work, the advancements of older workers, neutral working environment, increased benefits for workers. Bitta javob aniq topsak bo'ladi. Neutral working environment desak, javob to'g'rimi, to'g'ri emasmi mana shu javob? Nima uchun? Qaysi joydan mana shu javob tanlasak bo'ladi? Keyin menimcha A bilan D bo'lsa kerak, javoblar. Sizlar nima javob bilan tanladingizlar? Menimcha A bilan D bo'lsa kerak. Xo'p, impersonal climatedan to'g'ri, mana shu impersonal climatedan anaqani olsak bo'ladi. 15 D ni olsak bo'ladi. Qarasangiz, neutral degani impersonal degani. Working environment esa climate ga sinonim bo'ladi. Va ikkinchisi marked ranking order esa structural hierarchical structure called bureaucracy. Mana shuna 14A bo'lmaydimi? Nima deysizlar? I think yes. To'g'rimi? Hierarchy degani, demak order degani. Marked degani legalized debti. Legalized. To'g'rimi? Alright, ikkita javob bo'ldi. Xo'p, bizada bo'lishi mumkin bo'lgan yana bitta javob bor edi. U ham bo'lsa 24 da eslab qolaylik. Mana shu joyda bo'lishi mumkin. Mana shu qismda. Davom etamiz. Endi buni hamma ma'qullab ketmaydi. Ba'zi odamlar criticize qiladi. Qani nima deb criticize qilyapti? Weber, Taylor and deploy their theories when organizations that resemble this bureaucratic model were modern efficient. bular bu teoriyani qachon rivojlantirgan? Qachonki shu ishlatayotgan organizatsiyalar am, ishlatayotgan organizatsiyalar efficient bo'lganda rivojlantirilgan. Shu ishlayotgan payt rivojlantirilgan. It became evident, however, that some of the major advantages of bureaucratic structure would become disadvantage if the theory were applied dogmatically. Agar faqat hech narsani eshitmasdan turib olib qiladigan bo'lsa, nima deydi? Kim telefon qilyapti shu payt? Dogmatically apply qiladigan bo'lsa, bu teoriya o'sha advantagelar disadvantage bo'ladi. For example, the safeguards against favoritism could be rigidly imposed by adhering excessively to rules, resulting in both managers becoming depersonalized. Agar favoritismni oldini olaman deb turun, nima qilsak, favoritismni oldini olaman desak, bu nimaga olib kelishi mumkin? Ham menejerlar va subordinatlar personalize bo'lmay qoladi. Ya'ni hamma mashinaga o'xshab qoladimi endi personalization yo'qda endi. Qanaqa tushuntirsa bo'ladi o'zbekchasini. The classical approach has been criticized from two major perspectives. Mana endi kritikizmlar oxiriga kelyapti 16-17. First, the theory may not have been a basis in reality. Have organizations like these described by Weber and others have existed? O'zi shunaqa bo'lganmi? Shunaqa organizatsiyalar o'zi bormi deyapti. Second, it claims that organization designed and managed according to bureaucratic principle will enjoy the predicted benefits. But critics argue that the world no longer fits the assumptions Weber model. If it did, so bureaucracy might not yield beneficial results. Ikkinchisi, deyapti, unaqa hozirgi dunyoga tushmaydi Weber'da modeli. So, let's go. Too many guidelines are proposed. Certain practices become negative if they are implied too strictly. I think that's true, right? Managers and workers are unable to cooperate. The administrative standards are unsuited to most work environments. Positive outcomes which we expect in the past would be unlikely today. Yes, mana bu javob aniq to'g'ri. Mana bu javob aytyapti. Critics argue the world no longer fits the assumptions and bureaucracy might not yield beneficial results. Hozirgi kunda o'sha resultlarni bermaydi deyapti. 17i mana shundan olingan, to'g'rimi? 17i oxirgi gapdan olingan. Beneficial results outcomes ga sinonim bo'ladi. Hop, B job esa mana bu joydan olingan. For example, the safeguards, right? Himoya qilaman deydigan narsalar aslida anaqa qiladigan bo'lsak, depersonalize bo'lib qolishi mumkin. Become negative degani shu depersonalize ga to'g'ri keladi. 16 nima bo'ladi shunda? B bo'ladi. Demak, bu savol turida nima qilish kerak ekan? To'g'ri joyda biz savol orqali topib olamiz. Hamma joyda o'qib, har bitta javobni tekst bilan solishtirib chiqasiz. Hamma savol kabi shunaqa. Endi keling, mana bu yoqqa ham qarab turamiz. Bironta ism chiqib qolsa. Hop, early human relations researchers and behavioral scientists attempted to deal with major inadequacy of classical bureaucratic model. Dastlabki human relations HR deymiz, HR mana ishga yollaydiganlar, HR researcherlar va boshqa odamlarni behaviorni o'rganadigan olimlar mana shu classical bureaucratic modelda minuslarini o'rgangan. Xo'p, neglect of human elements. They argue that industrial organization has two objects. Industrial organization sanoat organizatsiyani ikkita maqsadi bor. U ham bo'lsa iqtisodiy effectivelik va employee satisfaction. They also wrote that the bureaucratic structure could be improved by permitting more by permitting more subordinate participation in decision making. Ular aytgan ekan, agar qachon yaxshilaymiz bureaucratic measure'ni, qachonki decision makingda qatnashsa, anaqalar subordinate pastroq leveldagi odamlar qaror qilishda qatnashsa. Because these researchers try to improve, not reject the classical model. They are sometimes called neoclassical theories and include Douglas MacGregor. Mana shunaqa odamlar shunaqa deb aytgan ekan. Chris Agresen and Renaissance like art. Bironta javob bo'lmaydi, sababi agar hammasini tanlay olmaymiz-ku. Mana bularning uchalasi birdaniga kelyapti. Shu uchun javob bo'la olmaydi. To'g'rimi? All right. 17-18 bo'lishi mumkin-ku. Qayerda 17-18? Neoclassical approach. Xo'p, menimcha bironta javob yo'q, to'g'rimi? Okay, hali ko'p ekan. Yana qala, paragraflar. Conor McGregor believed that the vertical division of labor that characterized bureaucratic organizations was derived from negative and false assumptions about which he called theory X. Bureaucratic organizatsiyalarda ishchi taqsimoti nimaga qarab ana olingan, nimadan olingan? False assumptionlardan olingan. Workerlar haqidagi. All right? Bu javob to'g'ri. Ism keldi. Bu qaysi haqida bo'ladi? Mana bu ijod aytyapti. Ishchilar o'ylaydiki ular. Ishchilar ambitsiyasi yo'q yoki bo'lmasam ambitsiyasi yo'q deb o'ylanadi. 22 shunda nima bo'ldi? 22 McGregor bo'lsa 22 McGregor B bo'ladi. To'g'rimi? The rigid formal hierarchy is designed to maintain managers' power over subordinates. Bürokratiyada nima harakat qilinadi? Menejerlarni powerini ushlab qolish. Decision making takes place at upper levels of management while the decisions are carried out by people at lower levels. Tepada qaror chiqariladi, pastdagilar amalga oshiradi. McGregor argued that organization based on instead of theory Y assumptions use their members' potential. Teoriya Y desa biza potensialiga dan foydalanamiz. Hope theory Y assumes that most people find work satisfying, committing themselves to organizational goals and seek responsibility. Bu teoriyaga endi pozitivroq. Bu teoriyada ishchilar o'zini ishidan anaqa satisfaction oladi va o'zini organizatsiyaning maqsadlariga bag'ishlaydi. Shu bilan responsibility ni izlaydi. Members have more independence than in bureaucratic organizations and lower level participation is encouraged. Hamma qatnashish kerak decision makingda. All right? Menimcha bu savollar bor bizada. Igris was concerned, that managers in bureaucratic organizations had near total responsibility for controlling their subjects' work. He argued that managerial domination makes subordinates passive and dependent and decrease their sense of responsibility and control. Ana bu javoblardan bittasida bor edi menimcha. Yo'qmi? Mana bu joyda tanlamabsiz, mana bu A edi, 26. Xo'p. Uni fikricha bunaqa turdagi anaqada organizatsiyalarda odamlar juda sense of responsibilities kamib keladi. He argued for alternative organization design that acknowledge human needs and feelings. Bo'ldi, chiqdi endi. Human needs and feelings dan nima bo'ladi javob? Human needs and feelings dan emotional demands bo'ladi, ya. 25 nima bo'lar ekan shunda? 25 C. Emotions degani feelings ga sinonim bo'ladi. Take into account again, acknowledge he favored giving subordinates more independence and decision-making power to create a more informal organizational structure. Buni aytishi bo'yicha nima bo'lish kerak? He giving subordinates more independence ko'proq berish kerak, and decision-making power to create more informal organizational structure. Hozircha menimcha hech qanaqa yo'q. Like Likert, degan uchinchi odam, Likert shared the perspectives of McGregor. In his research, he found that managers who encourage subordinates could motivate them more than traditional authoritarian managers. Likert based on model for possible systems in these findings. In system 1, power and authority are distributed strictly according to classical management subordinate relationship. Manager gives orders to lower level members. In system 4, organizations by contrast, there is extensive participation in problem solving groups. Some individuals in each group also belong to other work groups to encourage communication. And system represents a view an ideal organization. An ideal organization, ideal organization, best organization is best organization model. Other to communication degani interaction ga sinonim bo'ladi. Communication nimaga sinonim bo'ladi? Interaction ga sinonim bo'ladi. Shu uchun 23-savolimiz o'z-o'zidan D bo'ldi. Hop, endi 23 D bo'ldi. 24chi. 24 hali kelmadi menimcha, to'g'rimi? In particular areas. Boyagi joydan bo'lgandi ham. Specialization of tasks, appointment by merit.
Mr. Diyorbek, can I try to underline?
No, you can tell.
It's near to 26. It's rationality rules for decision making, clear chain. Is it here? Clear chain of command and promotion of people.
I mean, a built-in experience means expertise, but in particular areas, that's where I cannot find synonym. All right, so could be here. Let's read towards the end. All right, because there might be no more people. So we first of all need to find the answers for what? The answers for 18 and 19. All right, let's go. 18 and 19. Can you guys in the comments choose answers for them? I think it's easy, right? A and D, right? A and D. I mean, it's more positive, more people are getting involved to ensure workers are treated as individual people. And also the other one is to allow workers to have a greater say. That means, they're able to participate in decision-making process. Everyone agrees? Everyone agrees pretty much. Jawhar says, Shahnoza, is also, and Mr. Kamilov. Do you guys agree too? I mean, that's the only positive answers, two positive answers here. I mean, we have those two, but others are quite negative in the way they are written, right? So finally, what are the criticisms? Well, neoclassical approach to organizational design compensates for limitations in traditional classical, but it also has been criticized. We have criticized qilingan. First, neoclassicists share the classical assumption that there is one best way to design an organization. Ular ham o'ylaydiki bitta yo'li bor organizatsiyani dizayn qilishda bitta zo'r yo'li bor. They overlook environmental, technological, and other variables that might affect an organization's design and overemphasize psychological and behavioral variables. Bular ham qolgan faktorlarni inobatga olmas ekan. Secondly, theory section oversimplify human motivation, like neglect individual differences. Yana bitta tomoni, bular insonlarni bir-biridan farqligini inobatga olmas ekan. Not everyone is motivated by the non-monetary aspects of work, nor is all work satisfying. Hamma ish ham satisfying emas, hamma ham pul bo'lmagan faktorlardan motivatsiya olmaydi. Finally, the coordination work groups to achieve organizational goals may be more difficult than neoclassicists suggest. Erishish oson emas. Ayniqsa gollarga erishish. Kimdir yoqib qolgan anaqasi. All right, can you Omar? Bittasi aniq. Bittasi E bo'ldimi aniq? Mana bu joydan. Like E mana bu joydan. Not everyone is motivated by nor is all work satisfying, right? 21 E mana shu joydan. E'tibor bering. It's assumed that all people work for enjoyment rather than financial gain. Hope. they overlooked degani ignore'ga sinonim bo'ladi. Environmental and other variables that may affect organizations design. Mana shundan 20 C bo'ladi. Overlook so'zi nimaga sinonim bo'ladi? Ignore'ga sinonim bo'ladi. Shunda javoblar C and Xo'p, ism kelmagani uchun endi biz pastga tushamiz. Ismga qarasak, mana bu bitta joyda mana to'g'ri kelayotgan gap mana bu gap bo'lyapti. Ability and experience degani nimaga sinonim bo'ladi? 24dagi 24dagi expertizega sinonim bo'ladi. Shuning uchun to'g'ri kelayotgan bo'lyapti. Pastga qarasangiz, qolganlari tushmaydi-da. Right? I mean, not an easy one, definitely. Definitely not an easy one. Yeah, I mean that's why we couldn't find the answer. Like specific line. The most efficient organizations had members of the organization. So most efficient, if inefficient organization. I think that that's the only one that fits. The other answers don't fit. All right. No, I think that's it, guys. All right. So yeah, I think we can be confident that's the answer. So let's see if we've chosen A, D, B, E, A, D again, C, E. Then all of these, you may use any letter more than once. Obviously, there are 5 questions. You're gonna have to use one letter more than once. All right, now we're going to do another passage. Yes, I'll make sure that I'll send all the passages homework so far. The homework passages, only for one of them there was a video, but I will do a video for all of them. So we are so far doing, so basically throughout the course we are doing 12 full sets, 12 full practice tests. Yes, we're gonna do table too. We're gonna do table, by the way. We forgot to do table. Let's do the table. All right. Words in the questions. Synonyms in the text. Synonyms in the text. So the first one, marked ranking order 14. Marked ranking order. I think it was legalized hierarchy. Right? 15. And then there was neutral working environment, neutral Working environment was synonym for impersonal climate. 16. Certain practices become negative, they implemented too strictly. 16, if they're implemented too strictly. Adhere excessively. Implement strictly means adhere extensively, right? Excessively. And become negative, they become what? Depersonalized it. 17, positive outcomes that were expected would be unlikely. 17, not positive outcomes unlikely. Positive outcomes unlikely. Synonym for unlikely. Synonym for not yield beneficial results. Not yield beneficial results. 18. Ensure workers are treated as individuals. Now we need to find that. Ensure workers treated as individuals. Let's find that part. What word synonym? Independence? I don't know. So just a second. Decision making, right? Participate in decision making. Participate in decision making. Decision making. Acknowledge human feelings. Oh, I like it. Acknowledge human needs and feelings. Okay, that was emotion for that, but I think it was for emotions one. I think it could be the answer for this one too. And then 20 effects of surrounding ignored. Ignored is synonym for surrounding. Surrounding variables is synonym for, no. Surrounding effects. Effects ignored. Ignored synonym for overlook. Overlook what? Variables. 21 is like what? It seems enjoy. All people work enjoyment. Enjoyment rather than financial gain. That's synonym for here. I think 21, it was here, somewhere here. Monetary, there was something about monetary. Can I Google that? Search for that. Non-monetary, right? Aspects. Non-monetary, motivated. Non-monetary aspects. 22. Having incorrect views. Incorrect views is synonym for false assumptions. Assumptions. 23 is synonym for interaction is synonym for communication. 24 is synonym for expertise, synonym for ability and experience. 25 is synonym for emotional demands. Emotional demands. That's synonym for needs of human feelings. Human feelings. 26 is synonym for assess, straightforward. Straightforward, synonym for evaluate easily. right? So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it, right? Can you guys give me a second because my computer is dying.